and thanks for watching BSGcast. I'm Nat, he's Matt, and let's get started.
Okay, this week we're talking about no exit, and PC sure said it when he used the term word salad. It's definitely the word of the episode.
Definitely. We watched this actually in San Francisco with Autumn, Kim, and a bunch of other BSG fans, so thanks so much for your hospitality, guys. We had a blast, and these cookies, great times.
Awesome cookies. Now, we're actually doing a bit more traveling in the next few weeks, and we'll let you know at the end of this episode where, so maybe you can catch us at a BSGcast.
Exactly. So this was an episode which answered a few questions we've had for a very long time.
Who were the final five? How do the seven know them? Why did the war end? What's Cavill's first name?
Anyway, it comes at us with a few other questions as well.
Like, who is Daniel? Why does Saul resurrect with hair?
Yes. So before we get in too deep, let's give away some Alienware goodies.
Once again, we have some amazing comments on last week's episode.
Right. Stu gave us some really interesting insight into where Jamie Bamber's head was at from a CBC radio interview he heard.
Now, Odeon put together some very comprehensive timelines, which may or may not need a bit of tweaking now that we've heard what Ellen and Anders had to say.
Yes, and Shauna found an amazing parallel between Adama's coffee boy, Chaffee, and an Apollo 1 crewman. Very cool research.
Now, ultimately, the fan of the week goes to Sir Slam for waxing poetic on the nature of Starbuck and Baltar, their relationships, Sir Slamming, and the humans and the Cylons and their significance to the series. It's very top-down, overarching stuff, and a lot of it was about Baltar.
Exactly. So, Sir Slam, you've got yourself a sweet Alienware t-shirt coming your way and a chance of winning the $2,000 Alienware gaming machine.
All right, so let's get into the episode. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and say it. Way to go, Ron. In just one episode, I'm completely sold on Ellen. Well done.
Agreed. Ron was going to have Ellen come back before the mutiny arc in Disquiet Follows My Soul, but decided that the episode was big enough, indeed. And noticed that the Ellen scenes fit just perfectly into this Anders episode, so there we have it.
All right, so first let's chat about that kick-ass opening.
Oh, God.
I did not know what to do with myself when I first saw that. It was just such a great pre-roll to explain everything.
Exactly.
I didn't even realize the episode had started. It was crazy.
Exactly. This episode was all about clever and exciting exposition, and that pre-roll definitely set the pace.
Now, when Ellen first resurrected, she immediately shows up after she dies 18 months ago from New Caprica.
Right.
Now, she didn't have her Earth memories yet because she's all panicky and crazy, but then you sort of, Vernon just did such a great job of slowly making it obvious that she was understanding, she was remembering, she was figuring out who she was, her regal maternal self from Earth.
Exactly. Actually, that scene itself was one of the reasons I enjoyed Ellen's character so much for the first time. That right there.
I know. She
Brilliant.
went from being this kind of two-dimensional, vice-ridden character to all of a sudden having these maternal qualities that were just so... They really completed and rounded out her character. She became so interesting. Now, what did we find out from Ellen and John's little chat?
First thing, he was made in the image of Ellen's father.
Which is creepy on a lot of levels.
Yes.
Now, Cavill is basically little more than like a maniac child that's angry at his parents, we've come to realize, and not at humans as much as at the final five and how they care about humans. So it's just, he hates everybody.
He hates everybody, but it was really interesting. Dean Stockwell gave this breathtaking performance in this rant that made him very sympathetic. And, you know, I want to smell dark matter. I want to be able to see, you know, a star supernova. He's just...
so angry.
Amazing. Angry.
And
you can see his motivation through a lot of...
And that moment when Boomer says, don't you feel
bad?
remorse?
Yeah.
It's like, it's so interesting to see the two different sides because, yeah, you feel bad for John Cavill.
Yeah,
it's bizarre.
it's insane.
Now, John kept all of these secrets from the other skin jobs, it seems. Not even Leoben knows exactly what's going on. Leoben is the one who seems to be most in tune with it, but... you know, Cavill's the only one who knows.
Cavill knew everything. Everything.
And the idea that the one true God was a Centurion concept
blew my mind.
That's so cool. And Cavill doesn't know how resurrection technology works.
Quite fascinating.
He needs the final five to bring it back once the hub is destroyed.
Which, interestingly enough, it sounds like there's a 2,000-year-old resurrection technology thing somewhere in the Final Five's colony, like the lab.
Back on Earth. Absolutely.
Earth, which is insane.
Which means we might be heading back to Earth after all. Word salad is right. Oh, I wonder if John Hodgman knew how heavy this episode was going to be when he signed up for it.
Not only was this the first time I actually liked Ellen, this was the first time I really liked Anders and I cared about him. I mean, Truco's performance was incredible.
That frustration
he has. So heart-wrenching. Exactly.
So good.
It was tragic.
So good. Now, PC's dry delivery of a Mac ad was kind of distracting the first time through, but we watched it a couple of times and we kind of got used to it. But I think it's just the foreign concept of I don't know, comedy, some kind of comic relief.
Shakespeare
in a BSG
did it.
episode?
He liked it. Anyway,
Bizarre.
amongst Anders' word salad, we got some very good chunks of information.
Now, the 13th tribe did not invent, they reinvented resurrection technology since it
interesting.
had been forgotten because that kind of cylon apparently could completely reproduce.
Yeah, they began procreating, which I found fascinating. Now, the final 5 resurrected into orbit after Earth was destroyed and headed back to the 12 colonies to warn them, you know, because it's all happened before.
The weird thing about that is, if they had just a ship in orbit, how did whoever decided to destroy Earth not notice
destroy
it?
that.
I don't know, not very effective destruction. But anyway, now the war had already begun with the Cylons back in the colonies by the time they got there. And the Cylons were dabbling with humanoid experiments, aka the hybrid from Razor.
Now, the final 5 essentially offered to give the Cylons their secrets if they would end the war with the colonies.
So Ellen decided that since the Centurions had come up with a loving god, that changed the cycle. So giving them all these secrets was a good thing.
Apparently. Anyway, John Cavill then killed the final 5 and resurrected them with false memories, strategically planting them in the colonies.
So he winds up torturing Ty, he plays resistance leader with Anders, he took Galen's confession, and far enough back, he even tossed Ellen on that transport to make sure that she made it out to the fleet and survived the colonies.
One true god? Question mark. Why did he leave Tori alone, though?
Yeah, Tori still kind of doesn't quite fit. As much as I like her character now, she's still kind of the one that has no good explanation.
Yeah, well, anyway, hopefully that and more will come out with the TV movie The Plan.
Now, especially since it seems Cavill has known all along where Earth is, and he's just been watching the fleet hobble back in that direction.
To think of that.
Oh, and one more thing. So now there's a significant 8?
Yeah, that's not even a slap in the face. It's like a knee to the groin to have this whole new Cylon introduced to us. Although, technically, there are only 12 models now. It's really just damage control for naming Boomer 8.
Yeah, Ron hadn't quite thought it all out yet, and he's hilariously self-deprecating in the podcast for this episode, where he talks about how if I had an ounce of talent, I would have thought of it from the beginning.
Exactly. So anyway, how does Daniel fit into things now?
Now, is he resurrecting now as Six and Ty's baby? Because some of the camera cuts that we saw, the edits were pretty good, kind of suggestive.
Could have been. Ellen was fond of Daniel. That's something else we found out. And all the copies were destroyed, but there was at least one that survived. So, you know, he was artistic, he was sensitive from what we get. I wonder if he possibly played the piano?
Was he maybe Starbuck's dad?
Possibly.
Now, that would make her a hybrid who might have been able to trigger the 2,000-year-old technology in the lab and resurrected by accident when she died on Earth.
Yeah.
It doesn't really explain the Viper.
No, not at all. Oh, and one other thing. Daniel
Greystone?
Next week's episode is called Deadlock.
It looks like Boomer and Ellen are on that raptor from youwillknowthetruth.com after all.
Yep, and with the edits between Boomer and the Chief in this episode, I'm hoping something sparks up between them again.
Yeah, it looks like Anders' warning to Ty before he went to brain dead surgery to stay with the fleet seems to be coming into play because the Rebel Cylons and the Final 5 are toying with the idea of abandoning the fleet.
Oh god, the title Deadlock probably refers to the voting that Cylons love to do and the fact that there's an even number of voters this time.
That's good democratic fun.
Oh, indeed.
Now, hopefully that means Anders is able to vote at some point in this episode.
Yeah, hopefully he comes back. Who knows?
Now, we mentioned that we're going to be traveling for a few Battlestar episodes, so if you're in MegaCon in Orlando on February 27th, we'll be there with a good chance that a live BSGcast is going to break out.
And we'll be in Austin on March 13 for South by Southwest with Battlestar Galactica on our minds.
Now, we've got a bunch of things going on for March 20th as far as the finale goes. CDF is throwing a party in Las Vegas, so check out bsgcast.com for links to that.
And if you've got a frat party going on for the finale in your area of town, shoot us an email and we'll make mention of it on the BSGcast.
And hopefully everybody can make it.